Alan Michael Carnley.
All right. And what do you go by? Do people call you Alan or Alan Michael?
Either one, it don't matter.
Okay. Mr. Carnley, where do you live?
At my dad's house.
All right. And who's your daddy?
Alan Carnley.
All right. Do you know Miss Amanda Lewis?
Yes, sir.
How do you know Miss Lewis?
She dated my dad.
Where do you go to school, Mr. Carnley?
Poplar Springs.
How old are you?
15.
Play any sports, Mr. Carnley?
Basketball.
Basketball? You on the JV team or varsity team now?
JV.
JV. Okay. You have a favorite subject there at Poplar Springs?
Math.
Math. All right. Mr. Carnley, I want to take you back to August the 8th of 2007. The day, and we've heard that date quite a bit so far in this trial, and that's been the date that's been identified as the time that Adrianna, the incident happened there at your house. You understand what I'm talking about?
Yes, sir.
All right. Let me ask you first, Mr. Carnley, what had you done the night before that incident?
Nothing, just went home to my dad's house and watched TV.
Okay. How late did you stay up that night? Do you remember?
It was like 1 or 2 in the morning.
Okay. Now this was summertime, correct?
Yes, sir.
Is that pretty standard? You would stay up pretty
Yes,
late?
sir.
You don't have a curfew or anything like that during the summer?
No, sir.
What were you doing up till 1 or 2 in the morning?
Watching TV and playing video games.
Okay. Do you have those in your room?
Yes, sir.
So you have a TV in your room there at your dad's house?
Yes, sir.
Or you did back in August?
Yes, sir.
And you have an Xbox, correct?
Yes, sir.
How about a computer? You have a computer in your room there?
Yes, sir.
How about a dartboard? Remember having a dartboard back
Yes,
in
sir.
August? All right. How about you like model motorcycles and model cars, don't you, Mr. Carnley?
Yes, sir.
You have some of those in your room?
Yes, sir.
I think you even have a lava lamp, don't you?
Yes, sir.
Lava lamp in your room? Okay. All right. Now, you said you stayed up till 1 or 2 o'clock. What's the first thing you remember the next morning, Mr. Carnley?
Like 6 o'clock in the morning, AJ and Adrianna were yelling at each other.
Okay. Did you see either one of them, or you just hear that?
I just heard it.
Okay. Could you hear what either one of them were saying?
No, sir.
All right. So that was 6 o'clock in the morning. Did you get out of bed at that time and get
No,
ready
sir.
or anything? All right. Did
No,
you go
sir.
back to sleep?
Yes, sir.
When's the next time you woke up, if you remember, about?
Around lunch, like 12 or 1.
Okay. And what did you do when you woke up?
I turned on the TV.
In your room there?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Did you ever play with Adrianna that morning?
No, sir.
All right. Did you ever play with AJ that morning?
No, sir.
All right. Did you ever see either one of them that morning?
When I walked into the kitchen, I think I saw AJ in the living room.
Okay. What was he doing?
I think he was watching TV.
All right. Did you see Adrianna around?
No, sir.
All right. Did you see Amanda?
I think I seen her in the kitchen.
Let me back up just a little bit. We talked about, this is a summer day and you usually staying up. What time would your dad usually leave in the mornings in those type of situations?
I don't know, around 6 or 9.
And what time would Amanda come home?
7, I think.
All right, so you would usually stay asleep though to around lunch?
Yes, sir.
All right, do you know what the kids usually did during those times?
No, sir.
What would Amanda do when she came home, if you know?
I don't know.
You don't know because you were usually sleeping?
Yes, sir.
I want to talk to you a little bit about the pool you had there at your house. How long had you had that pool at your house, Mr. Carnley, before this incident happened with Adrianna?
I think about 3 weeks.
About 3 weeks or so? Okay. In fact, I think you helped your dad set that pool up.
Yes, sir.
How many times had you been in the pool before the incident happened?
Like 2 or 3 times.
Okay. Had you ever seen AJ or Adrianna in the pool?
No, sir.
What did Adrianna think about the pool? Do you know?
I don't know.
All right. Do you know what she thought about water?
She liked playing in the water.
Okay. But did you ever see her in the pool?
No, sir.
All right. Mr. Carnley, you and I spoke briefly before we got in court this morning. A few days after this incident, I think on August the 10th of 07, do you remember talking to Sheriff Lee and some other people from the Sheriff's Office about this incident?
Yes, sir.
Do you remember them asking you about if Adrianna liked the pool or not?
No, sir.
Okay. You don't remember that? Do you remember telling them that she couldn't stand it? You recall giving that answer to the Sheriff Lee?
Yes, sir.
You do remember saying that?
Yeah.
Okay. Is it fair to say, Mr. Carnley, that your recollection of the events were better back in August, right after this incident happened, than they
Yes,
are
sir.
here today?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So it's fair to say that Adrianna couldn't stay in the pool,
Yes, sir.
and you had never even seen her in it?
No, sir.
What kind of kid was Adrianna, Mr. Carnley?
She was aggravating.
She was aggravating?
Yes,
She
sir.
stay in trouble quite a bit?
Yes, sir.
Would she mind you?
Not really.
Okay. How about AJ?
He minded me sometimes.
He'd mind you? All right. How about AJ with your dad and Amanda? Would he stay in trouble a lot?
I don't know. I guess he did.
How about Adrianna?
I think she did too.
She stayed in trouble quite a bit? Describe to me, now we talked about a few things that were in your room. Mr. Carnley, describe to me Adrianna and AJ's room. Can you remember any toys in their room?
Yeah, they were all on the floor, and they had a bunk bed and dresser, and I think they had a little TV in there. I'm not sure.
They had a bunk bed and a dresser. All right. Do you remember a time when their toys might have been taken away?
I know they did, but I don't remember why.
Do you remember anything distinctive about their room, such as the smell?
Sometimes it smelled like pee.
It smelled like pee to you? Okay. So let me get back to the day in question. Do you remember seeing your father that morning, Mr. Carney?
I think he came in and woke me up and told me he was leaving.
Okay, but that would have been early in the morning, like you said?
Yes, sir.
All right, and you went back to sleep after that?
Yes, sir.
All right. When's the first knowledge that you had that something had gone wrong with Adrianna?
When I was in the shower and AJ came here and told me that she was dead.
So you said you woke up around what time?
12 or 1.
12 or 1? Okay, how long after you woke up did you go get in the shower?
Like 20 or 30 minutes.
So is it fair to say you were watching TV for that 20 or 30 minutes?
Yes, sir.
Then you got in the shower?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and who came and got you out of the shower?
AJ.
All right, and what did AJ tell you?
That I need to go outside. That Adrianna was dead.
All right, so did you in fact go outside after that?
Yes, sir.
Okay, what did you see when you got outside?
Miss Amanda had Adrianna on the ground trying to give her mouth to mouth.
Okay, so Adrianna was already outside of the pool?
Yes, sir.
What did you do with AJ at that point?
Miss Amanda told me to take him inside.
Is that what you did?
Yes, sir.
And then at some point, police and rescue people started showing up at your house?
Yes, sir.
Alan Michael, I know you've told us this morning that you didn't really see Adrianna at all, and you just saw AJ there in the living room when you got up one time. But I need to ask you, Alan Michael, you're 14 years old and you were there at that house. Did you hurt Adrianna that morning?
No, sir.
Did you even see Adrianna that morning?
No, sir.
Did you even go outside that morning until AJ told you that Adrianna had already had an accident?
No, sir.
Judge, if I may have them all. Are your dad's obviously, you said Amanda's his girlfriend.
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
Where does your mama live?
In Wicksburg.
All right. Do you stay with her sometimes?
Yes, sir.
All right. In fact, hadn't you just got back to your dad's house when this happened?
Yes, sir.
How long had you been back at his house?
I got there like the night before.
So you had just got there the night before. How long had you
Yes,
been
sir.
away?
Like a week or 2 or 3 weeks.
All right. Do you also stay at your aunt's house sometimes?
Yes, sir.
How often do you stay there?
Like a day or 2 out of the week.
Okay. Let me ask you, let me go back to the pool. Was there any rules? Did you ever hear your dad or Amanda, did they ever give you any rules or the kids any rules about the pool?
They ain't ever give me any rules. I don't know about the other kids.
So you just didn't see them talk to the kids about the pool?
No, sir.
But you obviously being 14 and you can swim, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So you didn't have any specific rules yourself about the
Yes,
pool?
sir.
All right. How did you get in and out of the pool?
I couldn't get in the pool without the ladder. I'd have to ask one of them for the key and get the ladder out.
So you had to go to the shed and get the ladder to get in the pool?
Yes, sir.
I don't have anything else, Judge.
Mr. Smith? Alan Michael, you said that AJ and Adrianna were arguing or were yelling at each other at 6 o'clock in the morning. Was there anything unusual about these two kids yelling at each other?
No, sir.
Did you ever see them fight one another?
Yes, sir.
You know if AJ had a little toy gun that he played with, plastic gun, I think it was.
Yes, sir.
You ever see him hit his sister with that plastic gun?
I don't remember.
Okay, you remember talking about that in your statement when they asked you about what you thought had happened? You remember being interviewed by
Yes, sir.
Objection, we approach the bench.
You may continue.
All right, Alan Michael, we were talking about, you said you had seen AJ hit his sister before. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Had you ever seen AJ hit his sister with an object, something other than his hand?
Yes, sir.
What kind of an object?
One time they were fighting with belts.
Okay. Any other objects?
No, sir.
Okay. Now you said that you got up around lunchtime that day?
Yes, sir.
Give us on the clock about what time that would have been.
12 or 1.
Okay. Were you awake from sometime between 12 and 1 all the way up until the time that AJ told you something had happened to his sister?
I think. Yes, sir.
You were. Did you stay in the mobile home during that period of time, or did you ever go outside?
I stayed in my room.
Okay. Where was Amanda Lewis during that period of time?
I don't know. Only time I seen her was when I walked into the kitchen and she was in there.
She was in the kitchen. Did you hear her doing any housework that day?
She might have been vacuuming. I don't know.
Think you remember a vacuum cleaner going that day?
Yes, sir.
Did you ever hear her leave the house, close the door, or go somewhere?
No, sir.
Did you ever hear her get in her car and crank up her car and leave?
No, sir.
Is there a city park near the trailer?
Yes, sir.
How far away is the park from the trailer?
I don't know, like a quarter of a mile.
Okay. To your knowledge, had either AJ or Adrianna ever gone to that park on their own?
No, sir.
Were they permitted to go there on their own?
No, sir.
Were either one permitted to leave the yard?
Not that I know of.
Okay. So when they were outside, the rule was they were supposed to play in the yard.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, when you went outside, you said you saw Adrianna on the ground.
Yes, sir.
And you saw, tell me what you saw Amanda Lewis doing.
Trying to give her mouth to mouth.
Okay. How long did you stay out there and watch what was going on?
Not long, like 2 or 3 minutes before she told me to take AJ inside.
Okay. So she was out there trying to save her daughter's life.
Yes, sir.
Now you said you needed a ladder to get into that pool. Is that what you said?
Yes, sir.
Can you climb over the pool and get in it?
Yes, sir.
How do you do that?
I can jump over or just kind of climb over the side.
Okay. What happens if you just lean on the pool, on the side of the pool?
It like caves in and the water starts dumping out.
So when you lean on it, the water will come over the edge of the pool.
Yes, sir.
But you're tall enough that you can get over it by jumping over it.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now you said that Adrianna liked playing in the water.
Yes, sir.
How do you know that?
Because she would play in the creek, and then we went to Water World and she was playing in the water, and then at Aunt Penny's pool she'd play in the water.
Okay. So she liked to get up to the water and splash in it and play in it.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Thank you.
Mr. Young?
Mr. Carnley, you said that you never saw the kids leave the yard?
No, sir.
And they weren't permitted to leave the yard?
No, sir.
All right, so that's something they would have gotten in trouble for if they left that yard, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
All right. Isn't it true, though, that sometimes AJ would play across the street?
Yes, sir.
Well, that's not in the yard, is it?
No, sir.
It's across the street in some woods or
Yes, sir.
dirt area?
Yes, sir.
Now, you just told Mr. Smith that Adrianna liked to play in water.
Yes, sir.
Okay, you've seen her play in the water.
Yes, sir.
But you told me y'all had that pool at your house for 3 weeks before this incident happened, correct?
Yes, sir.
You didn't see Adrianna play in the pool, did you, Mr. Carmen?
I wasn't there. I mean,
My
the whole
question was, did you
time-
see Adrianna playing in the pool?
No, sir.
And finally, just to make it clear, when you got up that morning at 12 or 1 and you started watching TV, which TV were you watching?
My TV.
The one in your room?
Yes, sir.
No, nothing. I don't have questions.
In Alabama,
Who do you live with in Alabama?
my mom,
And what city? Do you know your address? Okay. What city do you live in? Where do you go to school?
Vicksburg,
Okay. And your mom, what's her name?
Amy,
Who is your dad?
Alan,
Alan Carnley? What grade are you in?
6th.
Now, just a few minutes ago, the lady placed you under oath. You understand what it means to tell the truth, right?
Yes, sir.
Because you're in the 6th grade. What's your teacher's name?
Miss Childs,
What's your favorite subject there in class?
history.
It's not math, I understand. Is that right? Now, are you a cheerleader there at school?
Yes, sir.
Okay. How long have you lived up there in Alabama with your mother?
About 2 years
Okay. Your dad, where does he live?
in Florida.
In Esto, Florida? Did you ever used to live in the home that he lives in there in Esto?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and then your mom and dad got a divorce, is that correct? Now, back last year, last summer, who was living in that home with your dad?
Amanda, my dad, Adrianna, AJ, me, and Michael.
Okay. Did you spend most of the summer with your dad last year?
Yes, sir.
Okay. What about Al and Michael? Would he go and come over and stay quite a bit of time at your Aunt Penny's house? Okay.
Amber, if you would, when you're asked a question, if you'll answer yes or no instead of nodding your head, okay?
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
So, in the summertime, can you tell us what your dad's work schedule was?
It was like
Would he work during the daytime or at night?
in the daytime.
What about Amanda's work schedule? Would she work at day or in the night?
During the night.
Did she work at a nursing home then? Okay.
Yes, sir.
All right, there you go. Now, would there be times when no one was at home, none of the adults were at home? Well, let me ask you this question. Did you ever have to babysit Adrianna and AJ?
Well, she didn't tell me I had to, but she would be asleep because she worked at night, so I would just watch sometimes.
You didn't like really having to do that too much, did you? Okay,
Yes, sir.
because you're 12. When did you turn 12?
Last year, November 2nd.
Okay, so you turned 12 right before AJ turned 7 then. Okay. Now, last summer, do you remember when your dad and Amanda got that pool?
Not really.
Okay. Did they have the pool while you were there?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Did you get to go swimming in that pool?
Only went swimming in it like once.
All right. Did you ever see Adrianna go swimming in that pool?
No, sir.
And how was Adrianna around the pool or around water?
When we went to a river or something, she would go swimming, but when we were like at a pool, she wouldn't go in the pool.
All right. Did you ever see her in that pool there at your mom and dad's?
Yes, sir.
There at your dad and Amanda's place?
No, sir.
I understand that there were a couple of occasions where before your dad got that pool, you and your dad went up to your Aunt Penny Martin's pool, right?
Yes, sir.
Did you ever see Adrianna go in that pool?
I think like once.
Who was there on that occasion?
Me, my dad, Adrianna, AJ, and Amanda.
How did Adrianna act in that pool?
She looked kind of scared. I mean, she would always hang on the ladder.
She always stayed on the ladder? Did you see Amanda interacting with Adrianna in the pool on that occasion? That's a bad word. Let me change that around, okay? Did you see Adrianna and her mother doing anything in the pool together on that occasion?
No, sir.
Okay. Did Amanda try to get Adrianna to swim up there?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And how did Adrianna react to that? What did Adrianna do?
She started crying.
What did Amanda do when Adrianna started crying?
She just told her to be calm.
Okay. Did she ever grab her and threaten to let go of her?
Yes, sir.
Can you tell us about that?
Well, I mean, she was just kicking and screaming, and Amanda would tell her to relax, and, you know, she would try to put her on her back to teach her how to float, but Adrianna kept on crying and kicking, and Amanda just told her to stop, and if she didn't stop, she would just, like, dunk her. And
Okay. Was your dad there when that happened?
yes, sir.
And AJ, was he there?
Yes, sir.
How did Adrianna react? What did she do?
I think she stopped crying, but I think she was still kind of scared.
What type of little girl was Adrianna? Did she mind all the time, or did she get in trouble?
She got in trouble a lot.
A lot? How was she disciplined?
She'd get sent to her room.
She would get grounded in her room?
Yes, sir.
How long would she have to stay in her room?
I don't know.
Have you ever said that she got in trouble almost every day?
Yes, sir.
And Amanda made her stay in her room all of the time?
Not all the time. She wouldn't get in trouble like every day, but most times she did.
Would she be grounded to her room sometimes for almost all day long?
Yes, sir.
Did Adrianna take any medicine that you knew of?
Yeah, Amanda told me about it, but I don't know when she took it.
Okay. How did Adrianna's room smell?
Nasty.
Adrianna, she wasn't potty trained at that time last summer, was she?
I mean, she would go to the bathroom, but sometimes she wouldn't.
Sometimes she would pee in her pants. When you say nasty, did the room smell like pee, like urine?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And AJ, he sometimes would go pee in his pants too, wouldn't he?
Yes, sir.
Now, last summer, did Adrianna and AJ have a lot of toys?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Do you recall that something happening to those toys?
If they get in trouble, she would throw them away, or she would ground them from them.
Okay. When you say throw them away, what do you mean? You mean throw them in the garbage, take them away, throw them in the garbage?
I think so.
When did you return to your mother's house last summer? Do you know?
No, sir.
Well, back on the day that Adrianna drowned in the pool, that was August the 8th, is what we've been told. You were not living with your dad then, were you?
No, sir.
You were not at that house that day, were you?
No, sir.
Do you remember when you went back to your mom? Was it like a day before, or maybe a few days before, or a week or so, or do you even remember?
No, sir.
All right, you just were not there that day. Is that true?
Yes, sir.
Now, when you were staying there at your dad's at the end of last summer, when he had the pool, did you ever see Adrianna get in that pool or ask to get in the pool?
No, sir.
Did you ever see her playing there at the pool?
They would play around it.
Around it? What would they do?
They would like throw the ball for each other and catch it. Sometimes they would let in the pool and they'd try to get it out, but
They would do what?
they'd try to get it out.
Okay, and how would they do that?
I'm not sure. They just
Okay, walk up to the pool and try to get it out? Were there any rules about that pool, when the children could be around it, when you could be around it, or when Adrianna and AJ could be around it?
I don't know.
Did you ever see Adrianna try to clean bugs out of that pool?
No, sir.
How about AJ? Did you ever see him try to clean bugs out of that pool?
No, sir.
Who would clean the pool, the bugs out when it needed cleaning?
My dad or Amanda.
Questions. When you said that you saw him trying to get the ball out of there, was that Adrianna trying to get it out, or was that AJ trying to get it out?
I don't remember.
All right. If you looked at a summary of the statement that you gave the officers, do you think that might refresh your memory if you looked at something on there? Okay. I can approach them. Just take a moment. Look at this right here, read that, and then if that refreshes your memory. Does that refresh your memory?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Who had tried to get the ball out?
AJ.
Okay. AJ's wagon, where did that usually stay?
In the woods most times. or
Over there
around
on the side of
house.
the yard, excuse me?
It would stay around the house or in the woods where you'd play at.
Okay. Thank you. Those are our questions.
Mr. Smith?
One question. Amber, you said that one time you were at your Aunt Penny's pool and Amanda was trying to teach Adrianna how to swim.
Yes, sir.
And AJ was there.
Yes,
Is
sir.
that right? And you said that Amanda tried to calm her down, and then she said something to the fact, if you don't calm down, I'm going to dunk you.
Yes, sir.
That's what you heard?
Yes, sir.
And where was AJ?
He was playing with our uncle or my dad.
Was he nearby when that was said?
I don't know.
You don't know? Okay, but he was in the pool when that was said.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And how long before Adrianna drowned did this incident occur at your Aunt Penny's pool, where you say Amanda said, stop it or I'll dunk you?
I don't know.
Was it that summer?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Was it after your dad bought the blue pool and put it up there in the backyard? You
It was
think it was
before.
around then? It was before that. Okay. So, and how long do you remember the blue pool being up there?
Just a couple months
A couple of months?
or weeks.
A couple of weeks? Either
I'm not
one.
sure.
Okay. So at some point, you and your cousins, well, not really your cousins, but AJ and Adrianna are swimming in your Aunt Penny's pool. And then your dad gets the blue pool and sets it up at the house there.
Yes,
Right?
sir.
Okay. And the incident at Aunt Penny's pool happened what, a couple of weeks or a few weeks, or can you give us any estimate on that time frame?
I don't really know.
Okay, all right, well, thank you.
Mr. Bass?
Just going to ask you a few more questions. You're doing fine. Just don't be nervous. You've never testified in a courtroom, have you?
No, sir.
Have you even been in a courtroom before today?
No, sir.
All right. Some of these people have never been in one before this week either, maybe, okay? Now, let's go back to this time up at your Aunt Penny's pool. Aunt Penny lives where?
In Graceville?
In Graceville, okay. Adrianna didn't even want to get in the water that day, did she?
No, sir.
Who forced her to get in the water?
Amanda?
And you said she was trying to teach her how to swim,
Yes.
but Adrianna was nowhere close to learning how to swim, was she?
No, sir.
All right. Do you remember, would your memory about this, what happened last summer at the pool, would that be better in October or August of last year than it would be today, some 8-9 months later?
I don't get what you're saying.
Okay, well, let me ask you this. Last summer, do you remember talking to the police officers about this case?
Yes, sir.
All right. And was that closer in time to the events than now?
I think so.
Okay. Do you remember when you were talking to the police about this swimming event up at your aunt's place?
Yes, sir.
Telling them that Amanda had forced Adrianna to get in the pool, and she grabbed her and threatened to let go of her and let her drown. Do you remember telling the officers that?
Yes, sir, but I meant to say dunk instead of
Okay,
drown.
you meant to say dunk. All right. You said drown, but you meant to say dunk.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And Adrianna was screaming.
Yes, sir.
All right. Did you see Amanda dunk her that day?
Yes, sir.
How did she dunk her?
I don't know. I mean, she just
Ma'am?
let her go and pulled her right back up.
Okay. All right. But that was before your dad got his pool.
Yes, sir.
All right. Now you're 12 years old,
Yes, sir.
and you've done your best to tell us the truth today.
Yes, sir.
Sometimes you get words mixed up, like drown and dunk, but you meant to say dunk back then, right?
Yes, sir.
All right. Thank you very much.
Mr. Smith?
Anything else?
Okay. Amber, thank you for coming, and you can go back down